If you haven't already switched to Revolut, now is the perfect time. I use Revolut Personal to manage my everyday money, spending, saving, sending across borders. You can hold over 30 currencies, transfer internationally at great rates, and even earn daily interest on your savings. It's smart, fast, and used by more than 60 million people worldwide. And if you run a business, Revolut has even more powerful solutions. Revolut Business gives you a global account built for growth, multi-currency accounts, team cards, spending controls, international transfers, and easy ways to get paid. It's streamlined, affordable, and designed to scale with your business. Here's the best part. Sign up for Revolut Personal with my link below and join me on one of the most advanced money apps available. And if you're a founder or a business owner, use my Revolut Business referral link and get your first month with no subscription fees. Whether it's for your personal finances or your business, Revolut has you covered, all in one place. Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome. And you're more like you're welcoming me.
Well, it's
into the giant tinfoil hat.
This is I think this is the podcast studio that we haven't turned into a studio yet because it's aluminium. So this is the first one here. So we're going to put some sheets up, put some bean bags in so you kind of line on the ground a little bit.
Okay.
And then just light it a bit funky. Yeah, and then it sounds better than outside it echoes. So
yeah.
So that's it.
I actually really like the tinfoil approach. I think it's kind of cool.
Bounces too much.
Yeah, it does it.
Yeah, well, it's just like big layer there. You could just like the people better if you didn't have that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, man, it's nice to be back here training, and I appreciate the last days.
Did you learn anything?
I learned a bunch. It's that old saying, isn't it, with jiu-jitsu and stuff like, the more you learn or whatever it is, it's the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything.
There's a couple of little basic shit that makes a big difference. Basic things like he moves, I move. It's just that even the concept of it is kind of simple. And then just don't let anybody put their hand under your head.
Yeah.
That makes such a difference to how long you last without being submitted, especially at the start. And then how more space and opportunities you have just to scramble or sweep. But if someone gets a hand under your head, it's a long way out. We're just
and I really like that the talk you were giving me, the sort of going from the feet to the knees and gradually moving the way up like lava.
Yeah, well, also like if you think of like climbing's the same, isn't it? 3 points of contact.
Yeah.
That one I got off Matt Thornton about over 20 years ago. But it always stuck with me. It was one of those where he stopped and had a whiteboard and started writing it down. And I said, that's the way something just... Because one person can tell you fucking million times, and then another person tells you the same thing, slightly in a different way.
You think, okay.
And then you get it.
Told you. Yeah.
That's how he tells you. It's not, and I've been fucking saying that to you for years. It's just that. And there's a number as well of whatever that number of repetition it is before you kind of get it. And you'll see this with the surfing. It could be like 567. It could be 233. It could be the first time you get on the board and you just have it. It's just one of those things that there's a number to getting something, especially technique, and you're teaching kids technique, and you could say it till you're blue in the face and they mightn't get it. And one day it clicks. And that's what I've been saying to you the last fucking 4 years.
Yeah, they kind of have to think about it to start with, and then it's the sort of idea that you want them to stop thinking about it. And through the repetition, you get the muscle memory, and they just repeat the action.
I think also it's kind of like how you explain it. Makes it, if you try and change the language, I suppose, that they can understand. I think that's the... I remember someone saying to me that they were a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so they were, an expert as such, and they forgot what it's like to be a beginner.
Yeah.
So they forgot what it was like to walk in for your first day, and a lot of people, that's a big thing, right? So what he would do is he'd go to new things that he'd never done before as a beginner to feel what that felt like. And then
I've
also
heard that as well somewhere.
Also, to see how other people taught you on your first day.
Yeah.
And see if you could use that method. Because there's a method to teaching, right?
Oh, yeah.
People have methods to teaching. And use that method to teach. Like jiu-jitsu, when I started first, it was kind of like, I came from ninjutsu.
Mm-hmm.
And ninjutsu was you learn technique to forget technique. You could do 50 techniques in one night. But it takes a long ass time to get it. But then it's second nature. It takes you 20 years to get, 10 years to get good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they did it in this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phase where, you start here, pass here, get to a cycle and get to a finish and you drill that and you figure out where you're going wrong between 2 and 3 or 3 or 4. And you learn, your progression is very fast. And now there's new ways. And I thought that's a great method of teaching. And then there's a new ways now where they just play games. They don't teach you technique.
Wow. Okay.
They give you constraints. And in the constraints, you're only allowed to do this.
Yeah.
And you've got to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
And some people are just only teaching like this now.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
I don't think it's the only way to teach, but I think it's something to add in. And always look for like different methods for people because everyone is different that comes.
And also, like, if you have a big group, small group, one-to-one, it's completely different.
And you're only as weak as your weakest link. So whoever the worst is on the day that's the level we're going to in the class.
I mean, I learn a lot of jiu-jitsu from literally, I mean, my Portuguese understanding, comprehension is not great. And the whole class is in Portuguese.
Yeah.
But it's okay for me because I'm terrible at listening. So I have to really zoom in on the demonstrations and I have to get the guys to repeat it again so I can try to log it in. And then, a bit of kinesthetic learning and then that sort of visual learning.
Yeah.
But I think most sort of coaches or athletes, I think you're very much a visual person.
It's rhythm, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
you have to
the rhythm of it. Yeah. And the pop, 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 pop. You hear a lot of guys just use click, 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 click. Pop, pop. They use rhythms, especially strikers. They use a lot of rhythms rather than put your foot here.
I still have that pop, pop, pop in my head from doing the what do you call those wiggles, wiggle woggles.
Yeah. And it's just that rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get into that rhythm, especially when you've understand the technique a little bit better. But I've done Thai boxing in Thailand, and the Thais don't speak any English, and it's just
it's all
bala, bala, it's just rhythms. Yeah. So you can just see what he's doing. You don't really need to. He can fix you, by, moving you around a little bit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Actually, an interesting thing, I went back to Ireland and I did the level 1 weightlifting course.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
Coach weightlifting. And we were there and we're in it partnered up. And then the instructors are going around to see what we're doing. And the guy was showing me how to lift the bar. And then before he did it, he said to me, permission to touch.
Oh, yeah, really?
So
okay.
What? And he's like, I have to ask you permission to touch you.
Wow, okay.
I thought, fuck.
This is like a PC thing, is it? Like
because there's an overcompensation to the systematic abuse of kids in schools for generations, I suppose. So they have this kind of like knee-jerk reaction to, it's just,
It's interesting. I was having a conversation with someone about that the other day, like, because my parents, my sister and my mum are both teachers, both school teachers, English grown school teachers. And they came to watch our jiu-jitsu class, and our master is amazing with the kids. He's a special needs teacher from Brazil, completely natural. The kids, kisses them all on the top of the head.
Yeah.
They all wrestle with him. He gives them a hug. My mum, my sister were just like,
you can't do that.
You wouldn't be able to do that in the UK.
Isn't it terrible?
And they were saying, what a shame that he can't. Because look at the kids' response to this love.
Terrible.
Yeah,
it's a disservice. It's I see that. Like if I lived in Ireland, I'd never get involved with looking after kids ever. And like a few bad eggs that were easily spotted, and then everyone's tarred with the same brush. So and then the kids are the ones that suffer from it. Like I say, here is still 20 years behind the UK and
and I, in some ways, well, I was having this conversation with someone. I was going, it's nice here because, and then the very next day I go up to Beja and I, not luckily our primary school, but the neighboring primary school, one of the teachers had
Really?
517 assaults on kids between the ages of 6 and 8. It was all in the newspaper. So I was like, Jesus. So it does happen here. And how did you get away with it 516 times? You know?
Yeah, I mean, we had it in school with Christian Brothers.
Yeah.
But it was systematic. It was part of it. Like I was thinking about the other day, it was part of the culture because your brother went there or your friend went there, and they kind of knew who all the guys were. But that's just the way it was. There was nothing in it, really,
Yeah.
you know. And 20 years later, things are a lot different now than what they used to be. But like when I was in school, there was corporal punishment, so the teacher could hit you for.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of it while it was still in. And I remember getting, you did something wrong, the guy come up and he'd hit you like 20 times in the hand. Your hands would sting for the rest of the day. You wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
And then one year they got rid of it and brought in non-corporal punishment. And I remember the PE teacher gave me 1,000 lines.
Okay, yeah.
To have the next day. And I had 3 pens taped together. You know, it was up all night doing this fucking. And then when I handed it to him, it took me hours. He just ripped it up in front of me.
Hey.
And I was like, I'd rather would have got the slaps.
Yeah.
That would have been the end of it, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's just,
Yeah, we used to get hit with a Stan Smith trainer. You know, like 6 of the best it was.
And that's it. It's done. You won't do it again.
You knew the paedophiles because they were the ones that came down, because we were at boarding school, so we were in dormitories. They would get you around outside and they would pull your pajamas down and hit you with the bare.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't have any of that, but I know friends that did. But
and that's
targeted,
that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
You know?
It was funny. We used to call him the Phantom Feeler and all that. Kids just deal with it, right?
And just got on with it.
But I don't know. I don't know how scarred some of these other kids are, and I never knew how far it went.
Oh, it's not. Well, it's not right. That's the first thing. I remember a friend of mine was studying medicine, and they did like they were on about like incest and paedophilia and stuff like that. And it's always been the same throughout culture, and the numbers don't change in any culture.
Yeah.
So you can suppress or do whatever you want, and a lot of those guys would have gone into, probably out of guilt went into the priesthood or the Christian Brothers, and so you weren't going to get married, you were, and you weren't going to like have sex, and then all of a sudden this comes out that you're trying to kind of maybe it's something else that you're trying to hide. You thought this might fix it.
I kind of have a belief in that. Sometimes I think that maybe in the olden days that was if you had your kids, one would get married, your daughter would get married, and then maybe the one that was he's going to go into the priesthood.
Yeah, I think it's that. It's just suppression of
either suppression or just to sort of out of sight, out of mind, out of the village.
But it's never changed. It's never changed in our generations. It's not like there's more now than there ever was. It's still the same.
I think if you look at it worldwide, there is that. I was listening to a podcast. I think it was about these the guys in Afghanistan. Some of the warlords. They have like a whole troop of 10-year-old boys and stuff that follow them around.
Yeah.
Dance for them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a macho society. But then they have this, which is a kind of normal thing, which is completely abnormal to us.
Well, it is in this day's society. Whereas not that long ago, like Roman times or Greek times, it was kind of normal.
Yeah, right.
It was no one was really heterosexual in those days. So it's kind of like it's a cultural.
Yeah, it's a cultural
one, thing. Yeah, it is. Anyway, I don't know how we got onto that, but
we can quickly go off now. But talking about the gym here, you're beautifully positioned. I took some video as well, like right next to the ocean here in Lagos, and I was talking to Star about negative ions, and I was reading these studies, not just about negative ions affecting the mood and everything and being an antidepressant, but also now they're doing these studies on sea mist. And you can actually buy sea mist in a spray, but apparently it has a lot of lots of algae and I'm not going to say amoebas because that doesn't sound very healthy, but it has sort of beneficial bacteria and stuff that you breathe in, and it's supposed to be really good for you. And there's been quite a lot of study because they just want to know like what people. It could just be like walking on the beach. Why does it feel so good? And there's also that surf school phenomenon. Why does people love messing around in the ocean, in the whitewater?
Yeah.
Why do people like going for a morning swim? Because I was watching your morning swims.
Yeah.
But there's something in it, and I think the studies are there. They're starting to support that.
Well, even if there's not, if you feel like it's a positive, it's a positive, you know, and like, what's the harm, you know?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, like the what I like about here is it changes throughout the day. You know, there might be any wind in the morning, and the wind picks up, then the waves pick up, and the wind changes direction, and the whole thing is just so variable. I remember one year I was here, it didn't rain for the whole year.
Yeah.
I didn't see a cloud, and then I kind of missed clouds. So I like the winter here, I like the summer here. I like it all because it's very varied, and it's like it's a cold country with a hot sun.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's true. You get in the shade, you can sunbathe.
Yeah.
You get out of the shade, it's like
yeah. And like, I have a practice of going to the beach in the morning, do some mobility exercise and kind of yoga-ish kind of stuff, just move around. And then I just get in,
breathe it all in, and
just get in. I just get in the ocean, and today was like knee deep in seaweed, you know. But it's I don't get in for long.
No,
I just get in, and because you've got a vast ocean there.
Yeah.
And like the energy in it that's pulled by the moon and the tides and the currents, and you know, where there's a swimming pool downstairs and it's just full of piss and fucking shit, and you know what I mean, like chemical. So why would I get in that when I can get into this thing that's just an organic life form?
Yeah.
And the older I get, the more I feel everything's connected on some level. And I think you can do worse than add like a morning swim, a morning kind of like ritual that you do, like, because you drift. So if I just get up and pick up my phone, run into the day, like, I haven't really kind of prepared myself. Where I have a thing there where I don't look at my phone till maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, which is, even at that, saying that feels like I shouldn't look at it.
Yeah.
But I get up, I go down, I do my morning routine, then I swim, then we have breakfast, and then I write. I write every day now. I've been doing that. On my second book now, so it's maybe a few months, I think, on the daily. And I write down my 5 things I'm grateful for.
Yeah, nice.
And then my 10 things my goals. And that has to be I have, I can, I am, I now.
Nice.
Starts with these positives. And that's your prayers.
Yeah.
Without getting into religion or something.
Yeah.
And then I scribble. Because Star's a big artist, and she's been writing all these things, and it's kind of inspiring. I never drew because I was shit at drawing. But you don't have to be able to draw. You can use like a protractor. You can use like a compass. You can use lots of different things where you kind of like make circles and squares, and all of a sudden you're doing geometry.
Yeah.
And then I started getting into, like, there's a whole subculture of pens and pencils, and
yeah.
You know, so now I have
so
I have one little pen, or one little side of my notepad is just my little things, and then on the other side is a little sketch, and I can dip into that instead of like 4 o'clock. Check my phone. On just 4 o'clock, I'll just dip into that for 20 minutes and drift out and scribble, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying that process because it's not something I ever dipped into, because, you know, a lot of people, their family are artistic, or they've grew up with somebody that's into art. I kind of never did. We didn't do it in school. So it's something I've only kind of dipped into now, and I really enjoy it. I wouldn't call it art, but I just call it like, it's a little meditation for 20 minutes, you know?
Yeah, there is something about it. Like I've actually, I've had notebooks, the same style. They started off as moleskin. And
Okay, I know the ones. Yeah.
But since I was 16,
right.
So I've got a whole library full of these black notebooks,
right.
And I've still got it in my backpack now. So right now, like, I'll do my coaching notes, but I'll still do everything. And I used to try to separate each book, but now it's just literally for the day.
Yeah.
So I'll do my work, do the coaching, things I need to do, sometimes a shopping list, you know.
Right.
And you just get these, you pile up these notebooks, sometimes little sketches.
Yeah.
And I get the students, the athletes, to do it now. I call it like a surf coaching notebook. But I get them to sort of talk about their feelings in competition. I get them to write down, sort of just refine the notes that I've sent them about the coaching session. Give themselves positive affirmations like you're talking about. And I don't know, it works. It just like you say, it's a meditation. You stop and you think about your day. You think about what you need to do, what you've done. I think more people should do it.
Well, I think there's something profound about writing.
Yeah.
You know, like because I've really tried to like perfect my writing. I'll get into calligraphy eventually, but I've got like a couple of fountain pens, different types of fountain pens that I write. When I write slower, I try to write beautifully. And I used to do that as a kid. I used to fancy myself as a nice writer.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I just got sloppy shit that I couldn't even read. So now I take my time. So I try and join all the letters. And all have to be nice, one fluid
flow.
thing. Yeah, like the Japanese martial arts, they always did calligraphy with that flow. So I buy special ink, and I have a fountain pen and a couple of different fountain pens, and I have one black one blue one red one, and all of a sudden you're into this little, and it's cheap as chips.
And you don't have to restrict yourself just to letters or words. You can just sort of
scribble around.
Start, going off into other.
But once you write something on paper, it's not the same as putting it onto your phone.
I've tried to do it on a phone. I've tried to do it on when they had those things, palms, I think they were called in back in the day.
It's just not the same.
And you don't keep a record of it, really. And I just love that.
It's the tactileness of it. And also you remember it better because you've written it.
Part of it as
I think that's what it is. Like even, I went back I left school like at 14, and then, so I was just stupid,
Well,
in school, that's what you had. You're either like
school, not conditioned, should we say?
No, it's like an apprenticeship. And then I went back and I studied Chinese medicine.
Oh yeah.
And I pretty much couldn't really read well.
Okay.
I never really could. I think that was the problem in the first place. So I used to see the spaces in between the letters after 2 or 3 lines rather than the letters.
Yeah.
So the white would pop rather than the black.
Yeah.
And then I daydream, so that was really...
Wow, okay.
So that wouldn't hold... I could really manage maybe half a page or a page in a book, and then I'm just... I'm moving the pages, but nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And then
do you find yourself reading sometimes and then actually thinking about something else, even your other eyes?
Yeah, because it'll set me off. Even, because the words will set me off thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Or I could never work in an office where somebody else is on the phone.
Oh, no, I cannot.
I'm listening to everybody in the restaurant. I can't even, sometimes I get lost and talking to you and listen to everybody else, So a lot of that kind of stuff, which kind of has its own labels now, but like I don't really believe in any of that either.
Yeah.
So I think, for me then, when I went back, the biggest fear would be reading the manuals. But what they did was we had to record the lectures and then rewrite the book ourselves.
Okay.
So in that, I kind of learned to spell and read again.
Wow.
Because we had to hand in like 200 and odd pages, A4 foolscap pages of the lecture over the last 3 days. So it just got me. So by the end of that, I was kind of like, I would forget how to spell simple words like there.
Yeah,
that, or like simple 3-4 letter words,
Yeah.
And I found going back then made me just being able to read and write again, I suppose, really. Because do you know what I would do? Someone would hand me something like a joke on a phone or something like that, and I'd pretend that I was reading it. The amount of time that they thought it took me to read it, and then I'd laugh. But I'd never read it because I felt I was under pressure to read it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's like my mother used to stand over me checking my homework when I was a kid. I think it all falls back to that,
Yeah.
But I used to have felt like under pressure or to read in public. Like I'd never read in public. Or
you imagine how many people are not brave enough to face their fears of doing something. That's I know from my perspective as well. Like in school, I had problems listening.
Yeah.
Like I'm not an auditory learner one bit. I used to kill myself. Sit, focus, listen, and then out.
Yeah, I think it's not really a great system, is it?
No, but you got to work on it. But you got to realize, you got to like identify that you were struggling with your reading and writing, and I'm struggling with my hearing. But later on in life, I sort of made a conscious action to do something about it.
Yeah, well that's it. You got to figure it out, right?
I started listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
And started talking to clients and trying not to speak, not to interrupt, just shut up and listen. You know? And I'd make that conscious effort. I think, and you improve. You start to learn all over again.
I'd agree, and I think some people just take a system better than others. Like some people take the education system better than others. Some people take the sport better than others. But you've seen yourself, like a guy who's persistent and just keeps putting in the work. He might be super talented, but if he outworks the guy that's talented and the guy's not working, he beats him. That drive that people have to win or to achieve something or to get a goal. That's why goal setting is so important. Because otherwise you just default lazy.
You see, is a classic example is Marlon and Melvin Lipka. You know those
Yeah,
two.
I do actually.
So
Yeah.
Melvin was really gifted, winning everything,
Yeah.
won everything all the time, just
Right.
super talented.
Yeah.
And Marlon was the workhorse, you know, the
Right.
grit, you know, like didn't say nothing, just put in the effort.
Yeah.
And he was the one that made it to in terms of surfing anyway,
Okay.
onto the CT, the Championship Tour, one of the best surfers that we produced from Portugal.
Okay.
Well, he's German, but grew up here, born here.
Yeah.
And Melvin could have, but he wasn't interested. It's fine. He's like the social butterfly, you know, like he likes to float around and party and
because that kills people sometimes to think that, like, you know, you've all that talent and you're just like,
he don't care.
Yeah.
I don't think it really mattered to him
No.
so much. But like his coaches at the time were just like, you know.
Because which one was good, the older one or the younger?
Marlon is the older one. And
Okay.
he was the one. He was the workhorse. He was the one that made it. And Melvin was more the sort of outgoing, like.
And he's got a bar in town now.
He's got a nightclub in town. Yeah. You know,
I bumped into him.
Yeah.
I only met the other brother once. He came down to ride one of these motorized surfboards.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But I think the guy made a mistake of buying diesel ones. You know, now everything's electric.
Imagine.
It's just before, it was kind of around the time of electric, but there wasn't that much. You had to you had
to have a giant battery on it or something.
No, it's just like a diesel engine.
Yeah, diesel engine, main diesel engine.
Fucking like smoke coming out the back.
It wasn't not Sebastian. No,
it wasn't Sebastian. I don't know who it was because they asked me to. I made a film of it.
Okay.
I actually came across it the other day, and I came across one of you as well.
Oh yeah.
Promo we did a year. Well, I'll actually send it to you. It's really good. And then my favorite piece of work I ever did was the Surfer Boy.
Michael Conlon.
Yeah.
Shout out to Michael Conlon, because it's strangely enough started off as a surfer and now kind of went more into MMA.
Yeah. Because I was like, I bought a camera. I was doing security over in Luna Beach one year, and at the end of it, I thought I'm going to buy something. I bought a camera, and someone told me that now that photography cameras take video.
Yeah.
And Panasonic had brought out this compact thing, and I kind of liked the look of it. Bought a second hand one. I bought this little Chinese lens for 50 quid. It's all I kind of had.
Oh yeah.
No audio equipment, and I was trying to learn how to make films because I was doing little vlogs and bits and pieces.
I remember.
Yeah, because I remember being in a different lifetime, riding for a bike team in Guadeloupe, and I have nothing to show for it, only like sketchy stories. The other guy that was with me has different stories than mine. I don't know really what happened. Do you know that? Because they don't really add up. Whereas you can't argue with a bit of video. Because even when I look at stuff from last year, it's not what I thought happened. It's very, like, your memory's such a fucking bad liar, you know? So I started videoing stuff, and then I was like reaching out to people, hey, listen, I'm going to hang out with you for a day, make a film about you. And then I was like, I said it to you, I don't know, probably 6 months before that, and I got a call off you one night, late one night. Do you want to do that thing? When? In the morning. And I was like, fuck, okay. And I think that's the biggest thing to achieve in anything in life. It's just being ready to go. I was
super happy because we left pretty early, didn't we?
We did.
Volcom Comp at Amado Beach.
That's right.
And you came, you were at
He was living in the van in your garden.
I couldn't have him living in the house. No. It was too scruffy.
He was wild.
Yeah, it was.
And I recorded him. I had a phone, and all I could afford was like a little $10 mic that you plug into the phone. And I took the audio off that. I stuck him in the car because it was, it's a nicer place to video. And then I synced up the audio, and then I just made this little thing. And I thought it was like fucking the coolest thing I've ever shot.
It's funny how much we influenced his life. We weren't really in his life for very long, but he always says to me, like, that summer I remember so much, and I remember the influence of Colin. I remember you, and he living in Quartera near the skate park, so he's had a few ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I think, like, sometimes the surf culture as well is not the best in some ways. It's certainly not the skate culture, but he got himself sorted out a little bit with MMA and training, and I think it's just the discipline. I don't think it's anything else apart from I think he just needed that. He just needed to sort of focus his energy on something.
It's a lot of energy,
It could be discipline, not because he wasn't so good at disciplining himself.
Yeah.
So he needed the help to discipline. Who knows what it is, but he loves it. He turns his life around.
And I bumped into him at the ADCC here.
Yeah, okay,
But it's like, and he's still the same kid,
Yeah.
But it's just that, like I say, it's like And he's doing MMA as well. The thing about MMA is you gotta really listen to who's getting you in there, especially at the start, because it's dangerous. It's a dangerous game. So
yeah, I'm sure.
Whereas surfing, okay, there is risks and dangers, but there's a lot more in a cage. So if
are you talking in terms of like long-term injuries?
I'm just talking about paying attention to what's going on. So for a kid that has a low attention span, to get him something to do like high risk, that he's got to really pay attention to, I think is a good thing.
Yeah,
whether it's slacklining with no safety or whatever, but you're gonna switch on. And use all that energy for that like one moment.
Well, I've always thought, like we're going back to that thing when we were in school, and we kind of listened when we got smacked, right? So
didn't do it
like,
again.
You learn stuff by sometimes suffering.
Well, I think there's no growth and comfort, is there?
Yeah. So when you get that little bit of pain, I think sometimes you're not even conscious of your body adapting to the movement, but you're not going to stick your face or your chin in the way again of that same strike, right?
I think shit's got to be hard in order for you to progress, and just in life in general, whether that's like relationships, whether that's sport, whether that's work. If it's super easy, you'll just do the bare minimum, and you never really get your full potential.
Yeah, you always seek comfort, don't you?
Have that little ice cream, treat myself, But I mean, just in everything, and most people that are like really brilliant at one thing, the rest of their life is
another
is shit, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it's very hard to have a good, social life, family life, personal life, sporting life, professional life all together. Like that is to do that. Like I haven't met too many people that have it together everywhere. They might be great in work, but just a dick at home, or it's all those things. But just to, like Masashi says, master one thing, master everything.
Yeah.
And some people, they just master one thing, and that's enough. And I think for me, it's like really progressively trying to master all of it, which is really, really, really difficult.
Time consuming,
And it starts off with just setting yourself up right, and like say, writing shit down, doing things like that, and really focusing like how could I do it better? Just in everything. How could I meet someone when I meet them in the street better? How could I have a conversation better? How could I, not be a dick to people, not judge people too much, because like I always quote this U2 song. It's God Part 2.
Okay.
And it's like, I don't believe in violence, don't believe in rape, but every time she passes by, wild thoughts escape.
Yeah, that's a nice.
It's kind of like it's what you think as well as what you say. So some people they act beautifully, but in their head they're judging.
Behind the scenes,
And I think that's really my goal now. Is my goal is to look for enlightenment, but in everything, and master it all if I can. I mean, you run out of years, but if I can master from the time I get up to making sure I don't miss my morning routine, to making sure I'm polite with people, to making sure I'm doing better than I did yesterday, and then in sport as well, and then looking for adventure. I'm looking for adventure more than competition.
Yeah.
I get competition throughout the day in everything, right? But I want things that I find adventurous. And rather than do a jiu-jitsu competition.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. I've probably done 1,000 bike races.
Yeah.
I kind of know who I am. I know where I fit in. I know I wasn't the best. I know I wasn't the worst. I kind of am somewhere in the middle. I know that. On my day I'm good. On my not day I'm shit, right? I'm emotive. I'm emotional. I'm a Cancerian. Sometimes I just don't feel it. I don't feel it. I don't want to do it. It's raining, fuck it,
I think it's good because the intention is there. I think it's all about intention, isn't it?
But you can get stuck in that emotion as well. Like, that's the other thing, is like, if you're an emotional person, you're going to always overreact to things.
This episode of Podcast Portugal is brought to you by Flow Sports. If you're into jiu-jitsu, wrestling, rugby, cycling, basketball, and many more sports, Flow Sports have you covered. Stream live events, watch exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and dive into a world of top-tier sports coverage, all on one app. Don't miss a moment. Tap the link in the show notes to start watching with Flow Sports today.
Mm-hmm. And some people are just emotional. They fly off the handle.
Yeah.
And you need to kind of get a control of that and react instead of, or respond instead of react.
You got to
things,
think
you know?
before you speak, right?
Yeah,
Or think before you do.
Take a deep breath, and that takes a skill. I mean, I've always had problems with arguing with people. Like I just fucking walk out. You know, come back when the argument stopped, and don't ever deal with it. You know, and to take a breath and just to sit there and deal with the fucking thing. I mean that's difficult. And if I've always been in a pattern of argument happens, and I just like, oh, I can't do, like, don't want to say the wrong thing, you know. But rather than sit there and listen and acknowledge what somebody else sees in you, rather than what you fucking think you're saying or what you think you're doing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, time is so short, you know, and that's what I get about arguments or getting into any kind of heavy discussions and stuff like that.
Well, especially if you're wrong, though,
you can just focus on something else.
But if you're wrong, it's not arguing with just anybody. But if you're wrong about something, and you're making mistakes, and someone calls you on it, and you're just like, fuck this, what are you doing now? You know, rather than listen and say, like, well, if they're seeing that, who else sees that? And am I really getting away with what I pretend I'm trying to do? Rather, I'm trying to be the politician, smile and kiss babies, but really, I haven't got it together in the background, you know. And some people just see you for who you are rather than who you're trying to pretend that you are. And you've met them, and they kind of scare you a little bit, you know. It's like they have your number, you know. So I think for me, it's kind of like and the other thing was like is taking compliments off people.
Okay.
I found I didn't like that at all. Not like, hey, you look great. No, hey, I just like to say that I had one yesterday. John O'Gorman rang me, so I just like to say it's I feel blessed to have people like you in my life that I could call.
Nice.
Before I'd be like, yeah, cool, whatever. You know, like, see you later, buddy. Whereas it's like, just appreciate how much effort that takes for someone to say that to you. Or, you know, that kid saying to you, like, you know, you really meant a lot to me, and it's like, just think about that for a second, how much that takes for him to say that. You know, it's a lot. Like you would if you went back, like, I'm sure in as you were growing up, there's people that came into your life that really made a difference to you, and that you'd like to just say, hey, by the way, you might not realise this, but this made a huge difference in how I went, you know. And
no, I'm terrible at doing that. I find I'm very short of compliments, and I'm very quick to criticize.
And
but you've got to be aware of these things.
But that's the biggest one. So when someone comes to you and I'm ready to, like, oh fuck, okay, cool, you know, same as the argument, I stop and I just let them talk like you do with the podcast. And I realised that that's taken a lot of effort to come to me and say that. I had a kid here that was doing, he was fucking class. He was just like, he has a record for the steps.
Is it what?
He has the record for 200 steps, right?
Oh, yeah.
And but he was like super talented, same thing. But he was doing judo, he was doing ballroom dance. And I was trying to get him, fucking dude, just do MMA, man, you know. Anyway, bounced, got married, went to Lisbon, and he messaged me. He's in town. He's grown up now. He's got a family. He says, "Could I drop in to see you?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And he said, "Look, I just want to say, you were like a father figure to me when I was growing up." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I had to just sit for a second. And then he said, "I have a present for you." And he was only crying. He gave me this bottle of Romanian brandy or whiskey.
All right,
but it's in the shape of an AK-47.
I
just thought, like, the irony of it, like the gun that's killed more people on the planet than anything else. And he was just trying to say like how appreciative he never said it. And now that he's older, he realizes. So I've made a kind of thing where even if I hear a song that's made a difference, it's easy to get in contact with people. You know, and I say, by the way, I was listening to your song. Sometimes you never get a response back, but sometimes you do. You'd be surprised. And it really inspired me to do this, this, and this, you know, or someone said, I look at like school teachers I had that I'll try and look up, or old friends that were, you know, made a difference I haven't spoke to in a while. Just not looking for anything in return. It's just like, I'm not doing it for a favor, you know, I'm doing it just to serve, you know, rather than I do this for you, you do this for me. I'm not looking for a response back or hey, you're looking well. You're looking well too. You know, it's not that conversation. So I find just being appreciative of those days in your life and they don't come around very often, that really made a difference in your life, you know. And
well, I'm going to give you a compliment now.
go on,
I'm not very good at it, so forgive me. But I remember the first day I walked in here. I can't remember how I first got in contact with you. Something like I wanted to do like a little beginner's boxing class in here, and I remember walking in, and I felt like we had a connection straight away.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you were really open. You know, it's like walking into an MMA gym.
Yeah.
It could be kind of intimidating, but it wasn't at all.
Yeah.
You know, you were very warm and welcome, sat down on the mat, we're chatting. Oh, you would do this, where you know, it was always really, really friendly. So
it's not
thanks for that.
I'm not always like that.
No, really?
No. In fact, I'm probably the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Mainly, generally when people come the first time, I'm kind of rude.
Yeah.
Or
why?
I treat it like I used to work in a door in a nightclub for like 10 years in Dublin, and I treat it like it's something very precious, because it kind of is, and the longer I have it. So, and I always feel like someone's trying to take it away from me.
Okay.
In a sense where you could be here for 10, 15 years, and then Pedro's nephew needs a new place and you just get fucked out, right? You've seen that happen a bunch of times, right? Because you're a blow-in at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I always have that little bit of and I'm from a spot where you're always kind of looking around, seeing who's kind of trying to go at you. But I treat it like a nightclub where, and I used to do this on purpose. I used to knock people back.
Okay.
Not tonight.
Yeah.
Not tonight. Come back next week. Not tonight. Come back. And if they come back next week, not tonight. Come back next week. And then they come back 2-3 times.
Yeah.
I let them in. So I had a policy of not letting people in unless they come 3 times at one stage, you know. And people say, "Oh, how's that for business?" I said, it's not a business. I don't think you understand. I don't do martial arts for a business. I do martial arts because I'm a martial artist and I don't own the stuff. It's my obligation to give it back. Okay. Right? So like I pay for the gym. The gym never pays, never covers the rent, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I've seen where it starts to turn into a business, and that's only in the last few years that they've started to go from a dojo to a gym, right? And a business and a kids class, and you buy the gi and you buy the thing and you sign up for the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it changes what the actual thing is. It's just a business.
Yeah.
Whereas martial arts is about, for me anyways, is it's tough, it's hard. And in that you find out who you are. Yeah. But also in that you find out who you're with. If you know what I mean. And you'll find out character very, very easily when shit gets a little bit pear-shaped and gets a little bit hard, whether people just quit or they dig in, or their attitude, or, you know. So in that sense, it develops character. And a lot of the time, and it's probably with you, I'd probably recognize you already had character. But if you come up to me characterless, that's a lot of investment I got to put into you. So I don't want you to come up and you come in and you do 1-2 sessions and then go. No, if you come up, you're going to be training for the next X amount of years, not once a week. If you train once a week, go somewhere else, dude. You know, because all you're going to do is slow down everybody else.
Yeah.
And you're the common denominator in the room, and nobody wants to train with you because you don't know. Teach them how to shrimp again. So we didn't have the last 6 months. Rather than someone shows up, come down a couple of times, 2 times a week, and they invest themselves, not financially, but into the place.
Yeah.
And look at it as a collective. It's a sound system. And it's only as good as everyone that's there, rather than a premises and me.
Nice.
You know, and that's the way I look at it, rather than, I never wanted it to be like a business, and I've maintained that for 16 years now. And I've had a lot of people coming through, and a lot of great people come from all over the place to come here as well.
Yeah, of course, you know.
And in that, I've fallen out of love with it. I've fallen out of love with it, and I've been to where I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
But I'm changing direction the way I want to go now as well. And I found a kind of new love for it again.
Okay, good. What is the new direction, and what is the love that you found?
Well, I couldn't walk for maybe...
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes it...
Maybe
reevaluate, right?
8 months, 6 months. I was thinking 6 months on crutches, so I couldn't stand up. And then I got surgery, and now I can move again. And in that, it's okay. When someone's taken away that much, you're teaching a class sitting on your ass.
Well, you kind of went from, with the Conor years, you kind of went from that.
That was
going to the US
that was hard to deal with. Yeah,
all that stuff, the UFC, this, and you've been there in the ring, and then you have your hip operation. So
well, it's more like you go from walking out with him, being in the actual cage, so you're like the corner man. So you're walking out in front of 20,000 fucking people with some guy in his underwear trying to kill.
I was watching. Else. I was like, "There's Colin. Look, there he is. Look, he's talking to Conor."
And it's just, and then I come back here and some guy comes in and he doesn't know who I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Two is just I'm thinking maybe doing like maybe a bit of kickboxing or something like that, and so like I started falling out of love with that, and that's a kind of like when I think about it, it's a kind of like more of an ego thing with me rather than do your due diligence on like check out a place before you go there, find out a little bit of what it is and who trains there and what it actually is, rather than I was thinking about, could you explain to me about what MMA actually is? My son wants to train.
Yeah.
Maybe some kickboxing, something like that. I have no time for that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But in a sense where if you're looking to learn tools or something to aid in your self awareness or your self development, do a little bit of homework and find out what you like to do. It could be like some people are more academic based, some people are more sports based, some people are more whatever they are, but do a little bit of rather. And I kind of like to see if I want to try that. I'm not the right guy for that. Like I don't do like, can I try a class?
Yeah.
You like it? No. Can I borrow a gi? No. Those sort of things, rather than like, I've been watching this. I feel like I have a passion for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that you've learned from people all over. I want to learn with you. It's kind of like, say, for instance, if you got into calligraphy or photography, I'd want to find out who the best photographer was at the genre that I was into. I'd start to copy him. Oh, he's doing a workshop. Fuck, man, I just would love to go and see this guy.
Yeah.
Do you know that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Surfing, right? So you get into it, there's particular types of genres of surfing, right? There's longboard, shortboard, all sorts of, I don't really know too much about it, but I'm sure there's a dude in each one of those and that you would have heard about because you've got into the game, and then all of a sudden you hear he's in fucking 300 kilometers away and he's doing the fucking workshop. You're like, fuck, I'm there.
Yeah.
Rather than some guy stumbles down the beach, sees this old lad on the with a board, like, hey, do you surf, do you? Well, yeah, a little bit. I'm the best in the fucking world here.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I feel a little bit with that, and I found when I come back, I just got sick of dealing with knobheads. Coming in thinking I just washed the piss off the fucking floor and open the door. It's a generational thing. I got a lot of 16, 17-year-olds that are just like that kind of, whereas,
yeah.
And then it's kind of like I got tired of it, but now the direction I'm going to go is I'm going to do a lot more camps. I like to find details of what you're doing. You're not teaching day one beginners how to surf.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at that little difference between good and great.
Yeah.
That not many people can see. But eventually, if you're around long enough, you start to see that little hidden language that you couldn't see in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of stuff I look at now. When I came here first,
isn't it?
I couldn't see. I'm not, and even things like boxing, like I've never really boxed. But I can show you some like really small details that make you box better for like a high-end guy. But it's going to be lost on someone that comes in and never got punched in the face before. So there's lots of other places where you can be a beginner, fool around and see if you like it or don't like it, and 95% of them won't last a year.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in dealing with the masses. I'd rather deal with the people that are really willing to do what they're told. One, like I say, here's a book, write down the fucking lesson afterwards. Do all those things that, and take it that the guy knows what he's talking about and knows what will get you to the top if you have what it takes. But if you want what it takes dedication. It takes a lot of effort. It takes like years and years and years and years of just like showing up, being consistent and putting the work in.
I understand. I can give you a really good surfing analogy on that.
Right.
It's like respecting the value that you've put into it. You've dedicated your life to MMA. I've dedicated a lot of my life to surfing and rugby. And I think you take a value. You've learned a lot, and when somebody, they'll pay for a coaching session. And I'm expensive.
Yeah.
I'm intentionally expensive because it's not people that want to waste their time. They spend their hard-earned money.
Yeah.
They want to. They expect value for that, and I'm happy to give it. Because they're serious, because they want to spend that. But then you get a lot of people that'll call you up and go, "Where's the surf good today?" And I'm like, "Well, have you booked surf guiding?"
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Because why am I going? And it got to the point where I'd be getting like 20 WhatsApp messages a day. Where's the surf? What's happening, man? And I was like,
Google's your
why
friend.
why would I give you that value?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Why?
easy to fall into it. Like, it's easy to fall into like answering everybody's questions.
Yeah.
But like, not all questions deserve an answer.
Yeah.
And I think like,
you want to be nice, you want to be
well,
positive, and you're
been brought
running a
up to be
business,
polite,
and
right?
you think
Yeah.
thinking actually that is just showing that they don't respect the amount of time that I put into learning what they want to know, and for me to give that for free.
And there's a politeness that you learned when you were a kid, right?
It's not necessarily it's about money. It's the expectation that you're going to give it to them. You know?
And nothing getting
that
of it.
they
like,
deserve it. Yeah.
But you got to earn it. It's like everyone that comes in here is like at the bottom of the run. I don't care if you're a black belt. Like, you're the last one in. And I've had people come in here that like, because I don't really. The older I get, the kind of less I have an emphasis on grading or grades, even though it should be something that you have a goal to. But like, black belts now in jiu-jitsu are 10 a penny. It doesn't have the same value that it used to. So if someone comes in, they're a black belt before, I'd be like, fucking wow. But if you come in here, you're at the bottom of the run. You need to get on with everybody.
Yeah.
And you don't walk in and you're at the top of the table eating with us. You're at the bottom, kind of like going to the shop, and then earn your little bit of, and then eventually you work your way in. You're a black belt there, but you're not a black belt here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it, really.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's good. It's because you don't know, right? And there's more to it, I guess.
You just can't be just good at strangling people on the mat. You got to be black belt off the mat. Like, you got to make black belt decisions. We had a kid here nearly died one time. World champion, became a world champion afterwards.
Okay.
We got a knee to the stomach, and then there was this delayed reaction.
Why? Internal bleeding.
And I knew him a long time. Lee Hammond is his name. He burst the intestine. It was off nothing. We're floating around nothing. And I knew him since he was a kid, and I'd seen him in fights. When someone's overreacting, he went berserk. So I rang Jules, who's a doctor, and I told him there was like a 30-second delay on the reaction. They're like, and then,
Oh, yeah.
And then there was me, Jeff, and Sosa, all black belts. And we made black belt decisions that ended up saving the guy's life. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
So it's not just like, and that was taking him out of the hospital he was in, carrying him in his arms, throwing him in the car, and going to another hospital.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Like, literally, Sosa had him in his arms, grown ass man, running out of the hospital, throwing him in my car, and we're going to another hospital. He would have died. And then and he didn't. And the next year he won the world championships. So like, it's not just good enough showing up and being great on the mat. Like, you got to be great off the mat.
Yeah.
And bring that everywhere you are. Otherwise, you're not, And I feel a lot of people, just because they show up, they feel like, oh, guy's coming here for 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's gone a little bit like karate in a sense, like, but there's still some fantastic, some brilliant people out there, cause it takes so long in order to get one. Like, I'm training since 2001, maybe.
Yeah.
Still not a black belt.
No. Well, but it is more difficult for you because you don't have somebody here that's handing them out, right?
Yeah, but I'm already a black belt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, I'm already a third dan in ninjutsu. So I'm a black belt since 2001. And I've always brought that to the mat, and how much value that brought to my life. I was like given 1 year to have a grading, and then train for that 1 year, and then your name is called out like Shodan. You're a black belt. It's a title. It's a thing, and I always carried that with me. And I think, like, for me, I went back and met my old ninjutsu teacher and realized a lot of the mistakes I'd made.
Okay.
That he made me. And at the time, I just felt he was shouting at me. Do you know that kind of say? But I understand now what he was talking about, which was I never gave him as much props as I should have.
Where did you do ninjutsu?
In Dublin, in Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah, with a guy called Brian McCarthy, the BBD.
Okay.
And that was a proper...
Because it's kind of a random...
There was nothing else. I started doing, because when I stopped riding the bike, when I was racing bikes, I had nothing else to do. Partied for a couple of years, took some new drugs, and then looked for something to do, and I ended up doing Tai Chi, and then we did Tai Chi in this dojo, and I had like knives and daggers and swords, and I was like, I've been obsessed with these since I was a kid. Yeah. It's like, what is this? It's like, it's ninjutsu. When do you train? Monday. I'll be there. And I just went in, and I met this guy who was this like fucking hard staring, black and white, Japanese acting fucking legend. Yeah. And I don't call people a legend very often, but he had an army of people that were the toughest cunts you've ever met. And when I used to go training, they used to knock their shit out, and I thought, oh man, this is...
And how does ninjutsu differ from other, apart from, with the katana and all that?
This is before MMA.
Yeah.
So any tough cunt was doing ninjutsu with Brian McCarthy.
Okay.
Because otherwise it was karate.
Yeah.
And there's guys from biker gangs, there was heads from Belfast, there was fucking like bouncers, everything, and they just used to it was like, first black belt grading I saw was just a gang beat in. Literally a gang where they just beat the shit out of this guy. Like full force. Mm-hmm. With love. But like, if you can't take it, there's the door.
Yeah.
And it was black and white, and it was kind of like, it's what I really needed at the time. If you're 5 seconds later doing 50 press-ups, 50 sit-ups on the floor, the warm-up was until someone got sick.
Yeah.
And then it was like turn off the lights and start swinging katanas at each other. It was like everything I ever wanted. And then it was almost like so intense that when I started doing, hey, touch and roll, hey, this is different.
Yeah.
And then I just got into that, and I kind of left that behind.
Okay.
And also it was kind of like a very important part of my life where I was struggling with something, and it got me out of it. And I kind of almost associated with it, I suppose, is the reason.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
And then I thought, like, I'm back in Dublin all the time. Why don't I just give Brian a ring and, hey, let's go training again, touch and roll. And I forgot that's not what it was.
Yeah.
You're in for life,
Yeah.
And I met him for a coffee, and he just gave it to me in 2 barrels. And I was like, fuck, yeah, actually. And then afterwards I only realised that, like, he's like, I should have given him more dues, because he's the guy that got me where I am.
Yeah.
And he gave me the name Serpico, so I have a lot of stuff. Serpico Ninja.
Yeah.
And he taught us. He trained us in doing security. Had us doing bodyguard and advanced drill and walking, doing forearm stuff, doing all sorts of stuff. And he was like, he was brilliant, absolute genius, and best guy I've ever seen with a weapon ever. Any of that hand combat stuff, I've never seen anyone close to him, and that was it. Went back, met him, and now I realised you see your errors in your ways as you get older when you look back, and just to give those sort of guys, because a lot of people, they start off with one thing and then they just forget what got them to the races, and it's just it's the new fad now, So that made a big difference in my life, and I suppose now I'm starting to dip back into that again. Whereas I'm starting to do a little bit of close quarter battle stuff. I'm enjoying that again. Yeah. And I get all that off him. And I'm looking at other people, and I'm thinking, like, I'm enjoying this again. I'm enjoying this little aspect, rather than I wouldn't go back to doing full traditional ninjutsu again. Parts of it I like, and parts of it I didn't. Whereas that part of it I love, and I'm just going to start moving with that again, because it's like 15 years since I did any of that shit. But and I haven't even practiced it, but it's all coming back, So I'm gonna start exploring a little bit of that, and I think it's time for that sort of stuff, especially with all the MMA that I've learned in jiu-jitsu and boxing, to add in a little bit of the old traditional stuff, because there is value in a lot of it. Mm-hmm. Especially, like, a lot of people don't know how to start a fight.
Yeah,
they know how to do a match, but they don't know, even in a confrontation where you're, someone's got some, like, threatens you, and you, okay, run away, or someone's got a knife, you run away. But if you're with your kid, you can't run away.
Yeah.
With your mother, you can't run away, so you got to deal with it. But a lot of people don't know how to deal with those confrontations, so I'm going to explore in that again, without the bullshit of what would happen if Spider-Man fights Superman, kind of, because a lot of these theorists and a lot of the stuff, it's just they've never dealt with it. Like every weekend and indoors in Dublin, you're seeing it all night. You're there for 8 hours a day,
Yeah, sure.
and dealing with it in those kind of senses. Whereas, I can bring the other stuff that I've learned along the ways into it as well, and I'm starting to kind of develop that. That's probably where I'm going.
So you're bringing a lot of things all together.
Yeah. I'm thinking of coming up with a new system.
Nice.
That'd
be good.
I'm not that organised to have my own system. I need somebody to help me with that. But, you know what I mean? But I'm organised enough.
Maybe it doesn't need to be organised. Maybe it needs to be a bit more on feeling and
but I think also
reaction.
I think also like to put things together and because everyone wants their own little slant, their own little henka, as they call it in Japanese.
You need to write it down and have a plan.
And have a little syllabus and have a little grading and have a little thing. These things what you got to do. And then also incorporate the other arts, the more sporting arts, jiu-jitsu and MMA and boxing, into the feudal art of like ninjutsu, which is like it's got 9 schools. Like there's a school of singing,
Yeah.
You can't just be a good guy in a gi.
Yeah.
If there's karaoke on, you got to be the best guy on the mic. It's got all those little aspects of life. And I suppose really as I get older, and I found the syllabus there from the BBD, and I'm looking at it going, that's
cool.
It's genius. It's not even cool.
It's thinking about systems and things, saying that you're probably not organized enough to write it all down. Like, is there something about surf coaching that I've often thought about writing a book, and it's too much to write a book. And when you rock up at the beach, you could have a lesson plan that you thought about the night before. You rock up at the beach and it's howling onshore winds. So you have to adjust. You're constantly having to flow with the conditions. And so it's almost impossible to have like a structured lesson plan, and so it's almost a little bit like you're saying, like a new system for you, like close quarter battle and stuff. It's like, well, you need a system that can float to the situation of somebody who's in front of you. You can think of every single scenario: 8 guys, 1 guy, small guy, woman with a handbag. But so you almost need a system that can float like around, like the ocean influences the lesson plan of my surfing. That the attacker influences your response.
Yeah, actually, the same thing happens here. I plan out what I'm going to do each training session.
Yeah,
it's never what I.
Yeah.
Sat down for the whole weekend right now. It's who shows up.
Yeah.
And then, like, for instance, if you and Sosa showed up,
that's
exactly. Someone else planned. But it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Because you got it's very experienced against a guy that's fairly experienced. And then each of them gets something out of it.
Smash. But you know what?
But he's got to get something out of it too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was feeling a little bit sensitive. Like, what is he getting out of it? Apart from he's like probably chuckling to himself.
No,
that
if you
he's
look
smashing me in
he
every move.
Explained to himself.
Yeah.
What he was explaining to you. Because he doesn't get to teach very often.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So he was saying, like, he moves his hips every time and that's him kind of telling himself. It's almost like an affirmation to himself of what he does. He doesn't even really, because he never has to verbalize it.
Yeah.
But when he verbalizes it to you, and that's one thing about teaching, you know this, that when you verbalize, when someone asks you a question, you never really thought about it before, but you know the answer, you just don't verbalize it.
Yeah, it's instinctive, isn't it?
And you say it out loud. It's like, that's kind of why I do that.
Yeah.
And it really compounds it for you too, right?
It was a good session. I think sometimes you can get away with not knowing enough. And you can just sort of bully people a little bit with strength or with weight but when you're facing somebody who doesn't allow you to do that, I think that's when it starts to get good reality check.
Yeah, but also you realize if I get a little bit more technical.
Yeah,
but just in a very, very small, basic way, rather than you get kids coming down, they just want to spin upside down all the time, but like you can only do that for so long before your neck kind of gets wrecked and something pops. Whereas if you just get good solid basics foundation, same with surfing, they got to be able to get on the board well, they got to be able to paddle onto a wave, basic fucking shit, and then you can do all that later. But if you just can't catch a wave,
you need a good stance. You need to be able to It's true. You need the fundamentals, and I think some of the fundamentals that I miss I miss a lot, but some of the key things that I don't like to be on my back.
Okay.
In fighting, I've always wanted never to be on my back.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you're on your back, some other guy's going to come up behind you and kick you in the head or whatever. So I always want to try to either stay on top or rugby tackle the guy down and then be on top of him.
Well, that's not a bad way to go.
yeah, exactly. But I never want to be on the bottom. So that for me, the whole idea of jiu-jitsu being in guard.
Yeah.
And I talked to the other guys about this in because I have some guys in there. Some of the smaller guys, they love being in guard. They can do all the thing when they rotating on their back and necks and stuff.
But they're probably small though, right?
Yeah, they're small.
Yeah.
And they can move around. They're fast like
they have no choice.
Yeah.
So they have to get good there,
And I just want to lie on somebody. I can pin them down. If I can pin them down, then I can just kind of work. I try to smother them.
Yeah.
And so I'm shit with the guard. On my back I don't like. And you need to be, and like you were saying, you need to be on your side, or you need to be pushing, creating the space. I can't be like big area of friction of my back on the mat because I can't move because I'm.
It's a funny old thing. I have a big guy here, and it's just like it was like, fuck, man, this guy's really hard to deal with. He's like 120 kilos, not tall, so he's like a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
So usually someone that's
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Charlie Rage, and he used to be a pro wrestler, so he's got skills.
Okay.
He used to do back somersaults off fucking top ropes.
Oh yeah.
But like, I was just worried about him breaking 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
And and then the mother's like, so some 40-year-old, 120 kilo man just smashed me kid, is it?
Yeah.
How do you explain that really? Because that's the reality of it. So I just said to him, look, Charlie, you need to start. All you're doing now for the next 6 months is you're just on your back.
Yeah.
And if you sweep someone or get someone off you, start back on your back again.
Yeah.
And for a big guy to do that, it's huge.
Yeah.
He's never on his back.
Yeah, you just got to do a constant sit-up for a start.
And now he's got, like, he's much smoother. He's in control of what he's doing. Now I don't have a problem with him being on top now, because before he was just like so much weight and power going forward that I had no control of. Something's going to give on somebody that's smaller. So that was my way of being able to kind of
adapt both.
And for him now, all of a sudden you've got, because most big guys don't have a good bottom game because they're the big guy. If you're 60 kilos, guess what? You're never a mount.
Yeah.
If you are, good luck with that, So, I mean, but it's one of those things where you find your weakness, address it, work on it, get someone you can work with, and then just fucking make it a strength, How we fix our time?
No, man. No idea.
I think that's like
4:30. I don't even know when we start.
We started at 3, yeah.
Oh, good, mate.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy that?
Lovely. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was good. I love it. Just chatting with you.
Under the rock, I'm gonna dig a hole and hide all my magazines. All the spots are not upset. I just need some time, some focusing. I got the pen, I got the sheet, I got my plan, I got my screen. Someone tell me, please, there is a need to stop playing Baldur's Gate 3.